Hello and welcome to the PM Show, your weekly roundup of what's new and going on in the modelling world. How are we doing this morning then, gentlemen? We all good?
Good morning. Yeah, fine, thank you.
Fine, thank you very much.
Very good. Have we been busy over at PM Towers this week?
Yes, I'd say, yeah, not too bad. Ticking over nicely.
Yes. I must admit, we were saying, isn't it, is that the last couple of weeks been very quiet. It's in releases and various things going on. But we were saying yesterday and obviously this morning that there seems to be a bit of a stir happening with new releases coming out, and we've been given dispatch notices for things coming in and all things like that. So hopefully the buzz will start to sort of flow around again with all the new arrivals coming in.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we need, isn't it? Some new products coming in to, like I say, get the excitement going again.
Yes, I think the back end of like first quarter, and that's what we technically are, isn't it? It's always dead. No one does much at all. Second quarter, you get a few releases coming through. Third quarter really ramps up and things like that. But the way the world's been, obviously with COVID over the last few years, everything's sort of gone out the window because we've been getting it as and when.
Yeah.
But hopefully things are slightly getting back to normal.
Yeah, I think the shipping back to normal. Everything else, obviously, other things in the world have affected it as well. But the shipping crisis, which was really the main issue, I think, with the COVID last couple of years, is kind of getting right now. I think we're back to a bit more normal deliveries and stuff when they say, and I think shipping container cost is coming down as well to a sensible level from what I've heard. So that'll help. So yeah, all good.
Good stuff. Right. Okay. So, anything you want to start with? Do we want to talk about the flanker or?
No, we'll do that as a pre-order in a bit. I think,
okay.
As you're an aficionado because you've built 3 Phantoms in the past 20 years, you can talk about Phantoms as we've discovered. So carry on. It's all yours.
I tell you what, it's funny because again, it's criminal because obviously we were talking about, obviously we'd like to pick a manufacturer to talk about, and then obviously some type of subject matter and stuff. And Phantoms, they are such they're the F-16 of the day. Everybody flew them, everybody's used them, and everything else like that. And they really are popular. Let's face it, as a model kit. They're available in all the scales these days. But it turns out I've only ever built 2 in the last 20 years. So, and I just can't believe that. Of all the ones I've built tons and tons of and all the rest of it, and I go through my little list of everything I've done, and I've done 2. So it's sad, really, isn't it?
Technically, you've done 4, but only 2 video builds.
Yeah, 2 video builds. One and the other 2 were sort of live-ish stuff that we do with the guys, because we all did Phantoms. We did the Airfix one back in the day, wasn't it, as a live builds and things like that. But I say I've got 2 here. So I did this one, which was the Academy kit. So if we want to go back through the history of them, I think if you're talking modern kits, that's to say from like recessed panel lines and all the good things from the 90s, I think the best ones to start off were probably the Hasegawa 48 scale ones.
Yeah.
And the great thing about those in the 90s, wasn't it? They were a good price. You used to be able to pick them up between 15 to 25 quid.
Yeah.
They used to do 2 flavours of them as well. They used to do bog standard, what you used to call them, the P kits, wasn't it? Or PT kits range. And then they used to do like the RAF K versions came out as well. They did the all cock and brown one. And those had white metal undercarriage, a little bit of photo etch in there, different decals, things like that as well. And they were a little bit more expensive, those kits. And they were really, really nice, the way to go. And no problem at all with them. Very nice indeed. And then obviously the Academy one came along, which is this one, which was the first of the new breed of the tidal wave of Phantoms that started to come out in 48 scale. Again, really nice, good detail straight off the bat. Again, we saw things with this kit we hadn't seen before, like fully detailed rear wheel cockpits, engine intakes, wheel wells, things like that. So you could build something pretty nice out of the box. And again, Academy sort of chipped along doing them all. They're reboxed then by Edard.
Yep.
Didn't we? We had Good Morning Da Nang and the other one.
Good Evening Da Nang.
And
Bicentennials and the other one that nobody ever remembers.
Yeah.
Flowers all over it.
Mid Killer, wasn't it? Didn't they do a Mid Killer one? One came with a poster as well at some point, I think.
I think that was the first one, wasn't it?
That was the first one, yeah. But again, really nice, straightforward kits and everything else. And then of late, we've had a few other manufacturers. So Matt's got with him there, and to be honest, I've got one over here as well, is the Zukamori range, which were, very nice kits, fully detailed. Usual thing with Zukamori, and you can't go wrong with those particular kits now. Larger scale, I've got over here one we did many years ago. This is about 12 years old now, this particular kit, where I completely pulled this thing apart. This one had LEDs, or before LEDs, it had one LED and fibre optic. Lighting in the cockpit was fully lit, and then I did all the plumbing work. So we did lots of scratch building on this particular one and turned it. So this is the Tamiya range of kits, which, again, considering how old they are very, very nice. They go together very well. And obviously they do the different versions. They do the Navy, they do the Air Force, they do a Japanese version as well, which is basically like a toned down E version. But again, very, very nice kits all the way through. And then again, the 72nd scale market, which Matt's got down in there, Fujimi, or Fujimi, whoever you're going to call them.
Fujimi.
Again, they were the kit to get, but you couldn't really get them over here in England, especially in the 90s. They were really hard to get over here. I think the first time they sort of readily available from a decent amount coming in was Models for Sale. Used to bring them in. Vince over there, and used to have a great range of them, and then they sort of dried up. And I always find that Fujimi goes sort of, they seem to be like fashion. They sort of go out of fashion for a bit and then they come back, but they've always been really good solid kits all the way through. And their Phantom family was absolutely beautiful because they did the Royal Navy K version obviously long before Airfix did their version. So again, really nice. And then Matt's got just there the Fine Moulds latest releases, which
that's the new breed, isn't it?
The new breed of them.
The new breed of Phantoms is that there's the Fine Moulds one, really. Because I was thinking 72nd, like you've just said, apart from obviously the Airfix ones, which is more Royal Navy and RAF.
Yes,
that's what they've gone for, isn't it?
Was the Fine Moulds one original released as a magazine?
I don't think so. That was the Tomcat.
They did a Tomcat.
That was the D, wasn't it?
The
right.
D, the
Tomcat,
super. Yeah.
Like I say, the Fujimi one to me were the original was the 72nd. And then after that, obviously, there was a really old Airfix. Obviously, Matchbox released a version of a. But it's quite thin on the ground in 72nd. I'm trying to think. As a Gower did some in 72nd, didn't they? And because we've obviously got the Obby 2000 Reeboks.
Yes.
Of these versions, actually. One of them, anyway. I see already, I can't remember which one it is. Which are actually not bad kits. Because they were recessed. But didn't they originally do some raised ones to begin with? Again, like they did with the original B. Because just talking about 48 fans as well, before we don't forget Tamiya have now got on the...
Yeah, they've released their one.
But it does seem a lot of Japanese companies are doing the Phantom. Have you...
Yeah, I think that might tie in because obviously the Japanese Phantom, the EJ type, got retired over the last few years. So I think that sort of perked everyone's interest towards those ones. The long nose obviously being the E-type with the gun. And again, it's one of those, I think that's where that sort of come around with the sort of Japanese home market. As we've often said, Japan plays very strong to the home market and we all seem to be an afterthought. And I think that's where suddenly all the Phantoms started springing up from when the first squadrons got retired. And then obviously, they've moved on to other types, F-35s, things like that. And I think that was that sort of old fondness. The Phantom's been in service with them for Christ knows how many years. They're one of the last countries still to fly it.
I was about to say, has anyone still got them in service?
Turkey, I think, still got them.
Really?
I think Turkey still flies them. Just trying to think who still's got them going round. But you think they've only really all just gone out in the last few years. Like Germany got rid of theirs over the last few years. As I say, Greece. I'm not sure when Israel got rid of theirs.
A long time ago, I think, because they obviously switched to
F-16s and F-15s
and all
and
sorts
stuff
like
like
that.
that.
They went a long time ago, to be honest. But just European, shall we say, manufacturers, obviously the old Esky ones.
Yes.
Reeboks.
Which Reeboks by Italia,
and Revell's done some, but they've done the German ones in 72nd, which actually are nice kits when they're released. They're not a bad 72nd Phantom. And the 32nd one, again, you've got the Revell version, haven't you? And obviously the one you built, which is Tamiya, and that is it. So, to say for quite a widely used aircraft from a lot of countries, it's not.
It was the sort of F-16 of his day, and if you think of all the F-16 kits that are out there, they're like 109s and Spitfires. Everybody does them, but you say the Phantom sort of slipped a little bit through the net. Went through and. Yeah, it seems funny how it sort of got overlooked quite a lot, especially Cold War warrior, Vietnam, obviously use prolific, and I think that's where most people thinks of them, but obviously the Israelis use them heavily, and made them work as well. But as you say, European countries like Greece is famous.
Well, the German ones are brilliant.
And the German ones, amazing schemes for them. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, really good ones for decal schemes and that sort of thing. Tiger meat ones and obviously special squadron ones that they did. There's loads for the German ones. They were brilliant. I always think the one I like is the RF one, the long nose one, and that's really, really underrepresented from pretty much everybody, isn't it?
I think that's one of the only ones I've ever built. It's an RF one, which was an Italeri 48th one, which was a Reeboks of
Eski's kit.
Kit,
Yeah.
Yeah, Hasegawa did them.
Yeah, again, but
did the Marine Corps version of it as well, and things like that. And again, as we were talking about, you get the RAF version. You've got the Wild Weasel version, which has got a slightly different nose on it as well. So, and again, Hasegawa sort of did those. The only thing we have got, obviously, we've got, or we hopefully will be seeing a brand new series of them in 32nd scale. I can't remember the company's name, but they've said that they'll be releasing pretty much all the versions, and they've told people that apparently they're doing the entire series. So hopefully we will see that come through, and they'll be the next big thing from 32nd World if you're into the big stuff.
Yeah, I have to say hopefully they will come through with it and we will see them. But
because isn't it Academy's redoing the old Revel kit?
Yes.
That's the
32nd. Yes.
32nd. Which is the long nose E type, is it?
Yeah.
Because I think Revell did that as they did that as the Wild Weasel version in 32nd as well, if I remember rightly. Didn't they do it in the Hill scheme?
Yeah, thinking about it. So, but as of, I mean, obviously these are the benchmark now, aren't they? The Zucchimura ones. I think the Tamiya one, if you want an early one, is obviously the one to go for as well. The new one. Yes. Whether obviously they will release. Which I think they will. I think
they will do. We're gonna see the J come out, aren't we?
Yeah.
So it's very similar to it's just a new nose and bits, but the new wing. But I think at some point Tamiya might just do like they did with the F-16. We'll see a couple of family ones coming down the line.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, these and obviously that with Tamiya on board with them as well as kind of now retired the Hasegawa ones, haven't they?
Yeah. I think the trouble with the Hasegawa one, as we said before, is like I said at the beginning of the show, they used to be 15 to 25 quid. You could get them for. They were, straightforward, and they're fantastic kits. Like, talk about a one-day build. When I was doing my commission days, that was like a one-day build to get it built together and get the primer on it. You're good to go. But they just went, like Hasegawa did in the noughties, through the roof for price. Yeah. And all you were getting was some new decals. In most cases, it wasn't even new decals. It was just a re-release of an old version of, and you were then paying 75 quid. So, I know obviously things go up from there, but, when you're suddenly sort of tripling in price in 10 years for the same kit, and again, I think the love sort of wanes a little bit. And then we saw obviously the Academy one come out. And it's a lot more detailed, and it doesn't have the issues, shall we say, that the old Hasegawa one has. Not that it's got many, but you get more bang for your buck. That's basic with the Academy one. You get some really nice detail in the wheel wells.
Actually, saying that, the Academy ones are back available again because they did go dry for a bit, especially that one you built, the B. I think the C and I think the J's have always been you've been able to get them, but the early releases went a bit sort of hard to get hold of. But actually, I think it's starting to come back. And don't forget, just talking of Academy, going off on one, they A10.
Yes.
New tool thing should be out back end of this year.
Yeah.
It should be nice to see a proper C, because obviously we've seen many A's. Italo Reeboks the A as a C. And it's not nice. But again, you've got hopefully a nice new tooled C version of it, which obviously got a different cockpit and various bits and pieces in there, lumps and bumps all over it. So that'd be nice, especially if he's got a modern weapons load as well, because we see the A10 with cluster bombs and usual things from everybody else. It'd be nice to see it with a more modern sort of weapon loiter type loadout.
A modern tooling as well, isn't it? Because obviously Academy stuff, as we've said, the newer stuff is really, really good. Availability is hard to get hold of for us, but actually the kits are very good, solid kits. And when we get them, they do sell pretty quick, to be honest. They don't hang around very long, so can't recommend.
Just going back to the Tamiya F4J, it being such an important aircraft to Japan as it has been, do you think they'll bring out a new tool of the 32nd F4, since it's such an old one anyway, and they've not bought out the 32nd for a long time, have they? Or do you think they'll just rehash the old one?
I think they'll just
they'll rehash the old one. Yeah. Again, you're into that thing where it's not actually a bad kit. It's still a really, really nice kit. I know it's an old kit now, and by today's standards, it's a little bit clunky, but it's totally buildable. It's a really, really good, solid kit. I know mine, I cut completely to pieces, to do all the work on it. But if you're just building it straight out of the box, if you want a nice, solid, typical Tamiya where you screw it together, and all things like that, it is really, really nice. It's just a very straightforward kit.
It's a big beast in 32nd, isn't it?
It is a very large beast. Yeah, you need it with wing fold.
Yeah.
It used to fit just about in my display cabinet. So yes, those were the days. But no, it is. It's an interesting aircraft, and I think for the amount of nations that have used it, as I say, there's just not many tons of kits of them that haven't been available. They are now coming, but luckily, if you are after markings, decal-wise, everybody does them. Decal companies have got onto Phantoms, and pretty much, I think you do every unit there is.
Still, to be honest with you, I still don't think the like the 48 ones, especially, and probably the 70, are not as available as you probably think. Because obviously, we have to wait for them to come in from our suppliers out of Japan. It's not a constant sort of presence. They come and go. Obviously, when the orders come in, blah blah blah. So I don't know. I just kind of think, like you say, he's one of them, I reckon. When you want one, I bet you can't find one.
No, and that is always
it's
thing,
that
especially
usual thing. It's one to have in the stash, because they are available, but not constantly available, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, and like the F4 is a classic example, the Zucamori ones, because we've seen them come and go.
Different versions
of them. So we've seen the J, we've seen the S, but if you wanted an S now, you can't get it. Yeah. So that's obviously been the problem, and that is somewhat the trouble with Zucamori. And I know we joke about stashes and all the rest of it, Andy being the biggest one, but that's when it does pay off. If you wanted to build now an F4S, Zucamori, you probably pay a premium on the internet to try and find one. Because they're just not readily available. They've sat around on shelves and didn't do much, but now they've gone.
Yeah, I don't think they've dropped them or anything, but I think because Zucamori is not a massive company, they do.
Yeah, they do.
They do a bit like Airfix do, and obviously Revell. They do a run of them, and then it kind of goes away because they've done something else to take its place, and then it will come back at a certain later date. I don't know. Yeah, like I say, you need to build a Phantom, mate, because obviously you are lacking in Phantoms.
I am, definitely, especially now. I've only got one here. I've got the old Academy one.
Andy really needs to dig out his Edard ones that he's had ruled away.
I've got 3 out of the. Originally I had all 4 of them. I've sold one, so 3 out of the 4.
The thing is, I have got on order with obviously you guys is the EJ, the Japanese, and it's the special marking ones, because obviously there was a series of those done. Yeah. So that is on my list for this year to do if it turns up. So hopefully
they will be coming. I think they are on the way from what.
Yeah, they're on the way. They're on a boat.
Should be next couple of months, I think, to be honest, or some point. So yeah. Anyway,
the only one problem with Phantoms though.
Decal.
Stencil data.
Stencils.
Yeah, if you're not into decaling, you might want to avoid the Phantom, because unless you go with one of the funny schemes, you are going to be in for a.
It's one of the things you have to do it over a week though, don't you? And just pace yourself, don't you?
I think again, you're into that area. You think to yourself, can't they just put it on a big piece of carrier film and just put it on? But then it'll look horrible because you're going to get silvering and all the rest of it. But when you're going around putting it into no step, no push, the tiny one, especially 48 scale, and they are covered in it, let alone all the others, because let's face it, it's an aircraft of that ilk where it's got panels for everything and different areas of, honeycomb surfaces you can't step on, so there's warnings for absolutely everything. I thought health and safety took off nowadays, but it was clearly back then as well, about don't touch this, don't put your hand in there. Yeah, don't go near that.
Don't breathe on that bit. It is,
don't lick it.
The Airfix one.
Don't stand behind this great big jet.
Yeah, pretty obvious.
Don't stick your head in the intake.
I mean, even the 7-second airfix one, that took some.
Yeah.
But like I say, you have got to break it down because obviously you have to move the thing and you'll end up just putting your fingers.
You're sticking your fingers in
sticking
it,
your
and
fingers
before
in
you know it, you
just put down.
We've all done that thing where you grab your model and you felt that it's wet and warm. And you're like, oh, and you take it off and it's stuck to you, and you're like, put your hand in the water pot and try and peel it off your finger. We've all done it. We've all been there.
Yeah, we've had it sort of curling up on you and just going. Yeah, absolutely. So,
does it really need that one? Probably.
Yeah, that one underneath.
Yeah, that one underneath. No one will see that. You know.
Yeah.
But, yes, we've all been there. We've all done it.
And next, what to talk about is AFV Club.
Yes.
I'm quite a fan of AFV Club.
Yeah.
And I bet Andy is as well, aren't you?
I am, definitely.
And I think they're a company that gets overlooked, actually, for armour.
Yes.
I really do, because they kind of pushed it a little bit back in, oh God, when they did, like, the Churchills, and they were doing stuff Tanner had done, but more detailed. It looks like, and I don't know this, but they kind of looked at the Tamiya catalogue of their older kits and thought, right, we can upgrade these. And do, because they did Hellcats, they did Achilles, they've done T30, they've done lots and lots and lots. Yeah. And obviously the Centurions were, and still are, because obviously John's just finished his, I've built one, the Aussie one, they've got the Shock Kells and the NATO ones, and they've got every version now. They even got the really, really early one as well, with the funny coaxial machine gun on the turret, which is a Mark 1, is it? There's loads. But yeah, and obviously they did the little Scorpion and the Skimitar, which is quite good. They've done all sorts. Like I say, the Churchills are brilliant, aren't they? They're really nice kits.
Yes.
And I think as well, build wise, they are really nice kits to build. They do need a bit of test fitting and clean up, but I don't think they're terrible.
No.
I'd struggle to say anything bad against them, apart from, like you said, they're going to be a bit fiddly in some areas.
Suspension-wise, can't they? Especially on the Centurions, because they've got proper springs and stuff. But again, it's a armour kit, so.
Yeah. Again, I think that's the trouble, isn't it? When people say, "Oh, the kit's a bit fiddly," that's because you're getting into a level of detail. I tend to find, if you want that level of detail, it's going to get fiddly. If you just want it to be sort of click and go, you're not going to get that level of detail. And armour's definitely one of those areas where, if you're going to have that little bit of detail, especially with stowage and all the bits on that go onto armour, if it was just a one brick and put it down, it's not going to look right. So you need that level of detail. I know everyone says about, aircraft are more difficult because you've got seam lines, and I've often said armour obviously to do, because normally you get little bits of photo etch, isn't it? And like headlight covers are notoriously it's nemesis, trying to bend them if it's photo etch and things like that, headlight covers and stuff like that, and get them to stick in, and then obviously when you're in your weathering process, not knocking them off. So I've said before, every genre of modelling has its areas, and that's definitely it with armour. But again, AFV have just been one of those ones where I often think get a little bit overlooked, because they're not a prolific releaser, but they've got some really, really good stuff in their catalogue. Like we've got their listing here that you have stocked in the past because you're out. But as you say, you've got there, the Achilles, but again, the Matador, things like that.
Yeah, the truck.
It's a beautiful kit.
We had a 12% sale at the weekend, so that's why some of our
we had a little sale on, didn't we? But I was thinking, obviously going back to armour from back in the day, obviously Dragon came along and kind of shook things up, didn't they? Let's be honest, in the 90s and 2000s. But they obviously covered World War II stuff, a lot of it. And obviously I think AFV came along and covered a lot more modern. I know there's obviously Tigers in there and obviously say Churchills and stuff, but they did a lot more modern stuff, sort of with the Centurion. And then obviously if you look through their catalogue, there's probably a lot more modern stuff, because they did the Strikers originally, didn't they? Strikers. Without looking at the catalogue, but yes, they've done a lot more modern stuff than obviously Dragon sort of got on board with. And I don't know, I think they kind of pushed the envelope again, to be honest, with subject matters as well.
Yes.
Has always been quite interesting with AFV releases, because they obviously, I know where Thingy did, but obviously their aircraft, they did the F5s, and their F5s.
Yeah, I have it there. Yeah.
Yeah.
is, I mean, we've got a couple in stock. Don't know if we've got the 2-seat one, but again, they were brilliant kits. They've done the U2, didn't they, in 48?
Yes. Yeah.
They've done a few ships. They've done quite a lot. They've done 48th Armour as well. They were one of the first to 48. So yeah, they're worth looking at if you're interested in armour and stuff. That's what
like you said, they do a lot of Israeli stuff and so like Vietnam stuff, don't they? And
yes,
and
sort
Korean War stuff, isn't it, with the Centurions and things like that.
Yeah.
But again, as you say, like they've got down in there the M113, got the Australian one there.
Yeah.
Versions of. So that's the nice thing as well with them. It's not just the standard Vietnam era one. That's it. They've got all the different country ones in there. Yeah. And again, obviously they pushed it for me because the first time I did a review of theirs, modern era, was the Husky.
Yeah.
You know, and they did a few things like that, didn't they? So So again, interesting subjects. Totally state of the art,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we was on about, because like pricing comes up every time, doesn't it? And again, the modern stuff's gone up. I mean, it's not cheap, let's be honest. Like that, the half track, the US half track that we've not got in stock with the quad gun on it.
Oh, right, yes.
Under the
down a bit
Israeli thing.
There it is. Yeah. But
it's really detailed kit.
Yes.
The Dragon one actually came back out because that was the one to have. Obviously, Tamiya did one back in the day, which is now gone, which really, really makes me think they're going to retool them half tracks because they've not been available. And it's not like Tamiya to drop good sellers.
Yeah.
So I am wondering, are they redoing everything if that is actually going to come back in a new tooled guise at some point, both of them. And then obviously Dragon did a load, which it's Dragon, it's sporadic when they come and bother to do them. And then obviously they've released that one. But yeah, the M16, that is just a beast.
The meat chopper.
The meat chopper, yes.
And it probably is. It's it's cool, isn't it? Let's be honest, it's a good bit of kit. So, yeah, again, just AFV in general,
Again, it's funny, you say, because companies don't release prolifically, I think they just fall out of the limelight of it, and you forget how good these companies are, and that's what we've been talking about over the last few weeks, isn't it? Is that, sometimes you take companies for granted, and AFV is one of them. Because if you wanted to do that particular armour and that, you think AFV, but you don't automatically, bring them up or go for them. But as you say, you forget really how good these kits are.
Yeah, I think they dropped off. Obviously, I think the guy who founded it passed away, didn't he, last year? Was it, or the year before?
Yeah.
And I don't know what, obviously, the dynamics of the company was and that, but thankfully it's still going. They're still producing kits and they're still moving forward. So it's not one that's just been lost because obviously of a passing of obviously a key figure in the company.
Yeah.
It's still there, but I'm itching to build one of them, if I'm honest. It is definitely one for me to build. Probably as a video build as well as one of their Churchills. I know I got one off you, didn't Andy? Which was their... What's the other company that they do? Because there's another company where they had the aftermarket, and I can never remember what it's called. But because you've got the Hobart's funnies, isn't it? Really, the carpet ones, and then all sorts. But I can't remember either. I know people are shouting at the screen.
Just came in the brown boxes, didn't they?
Yeah. Again.
No.
An odd subject, that one.
Isn't that one at Bovington?
I think it is.
I think it's at Bovington.
Yes,
when you drive around the camp, it's there, isn't it? When you go in the museum, I think it's pretty sure it's parked out there. But yeah, that's a turret and a half, isn't it?
That was a fairly newish, but strange release, isn't it?
Yes, it's a bit. To me, that's a Musing Hobbies release.
Yeah.
Or somebody like that. They sort of go down to that sort of.
So I thought that was a prototype, but it's saying.
Yeah, it's saying it was Canadian, ours, Australian, New Zealand. So.
No, perhaps it didn't see service. I don't know much about the thing. Oh, just talking of re-releases, Tacom.
Yes.
The 432s coming back out, Bulldog and the one you built.
All right, nice. Because to be honest, we have been asked about that kit.
Yeah.
Tons and tons and tons.
It has said on their Facebook page. Back by popular demand, it's the Jag Tigers Blitz
Sorry, wrong one. I'm going in the wrong place here. Hold on, I'll bring up a picture of it.
Here we go.
That's all right. Well, I can show people what we're on about. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Wherever it is.
Next to your King Tiger.
There it is. Sorry, I was looking for a photo of it.
No.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a little picture. Sorry, kids. But yeah, beautiful kit. Absolutely lovely kit. It's mega.
Yeah.
And so they did the Bitesize one, didn't they, without the interior, I think.
Yeah, the Bulldog, wasn't it, with the armour on it and stuff. So they're coming back out at some point, hopefully next month, I think they're saying. Soon. Yes. So yeah, them and the 2 versions of the Jag Tiger is back out. So that's got full interior, isn't it?
Yeah, full interior. Yeah, no, it's really, really nice.
Have you got all them, Mandy?
No, I haven't, no.
No, I haven't. No, we'd have been, obviously, we have them in the shop.
Yeah.
And then they sell and you think, I could get one.
Yeah, you never expect them to sell out, do you? Or like, to not be able to get hold of them again, but yeah.
But again, lots and lots, as you say, we get people ask all the time about, can you get in?
Yeah.
Like, no, but luckily that one's coming back out. So that's good news because we do like that one. Very nice.
Yeah, we might put that back up as a pre-order actually for people because it's been out for so long.
Yeah.
Blimey, look how young you look. It's that long ago since you built it.
I can tell by my background, it looks like we got both here. It wasn't that long ago. It's probably 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. But we might bang that back up. We'll put both versions in one thread, and then if you want the Bulldog or the actual 432 itself, we can get your name down for it. So
let me write that down.
Write that down, Andy, on your notepad.
Stick that down. Get him in there.
And before we get on to questions and pre-orders, let's just say, and we'll mention it tomorrow and whenever we're on, next Tuesday evening is auction night.
We have a live auction.
So what we're doing is, this is for PM members, isn't it, only? And so if you want to be a member, because this is going to be a closed auction, this isn't going to be out to the public, is it? This one. This is just for flooring members.
Yeah.
Sorry, not PM members, flooring members. But it's so if you want to join the flooring family,
that's it. Get your details in, and then you can come and join us for an evening of entertainment, laughter, and bargains.
Yeah, basically that's what it's going to be. There's a big pile upstairs of kits that we're going to do. It's just PM stock as well, not our stashes as we normally chuck in. This is all PM stuff. So yes.
So floor members will be able to see a list of what's going to be on the auction. Yeah. Next few days.
Yeah.
You'll be able to do your pre-bids as normal if you can't be around for it.
Tuesday evening and all that kind of malarkey and all that. So yes. Yeah, that's good. So like and subscribe and join the Flory family, the herd, whatever you want to call it.
The herd. Herd's probably a good idea. Flock.
Yeah.
Gaggle.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is news hot off the press because we know there's been a little bit of speculation about this particular kit going around. So this is the Great Wall Hobbies. I'll concise it a little bit. So basically what's happened is Great Wall Hobbies are re-releasing their SU-27 UB in Ukrainian marking. So, it's all got all the stuff on. Now, obviously, because of what's happening in the world and all the rest of it, it's not going to be available in China.
At all.
And apparently it won't be available in the Far East at all.
Well, any province, from what we've gathered, from China.
What's happened is there's been a little bit lost in translation, we think, because we heard, obviously, a few days ago, like a lot of you did, that this kit had been cancelled. So, but anyway, we've been informed overnight that actually it's a lost in translation. It's just been cancelled pretty much everywhere apart from here. So it's going to be available over probably in the US and UK. So we've been given the green light back onto it again.
So it's not available for domestic market, is it?
So yeah, they're not selling it in China. So you won't be able to buy it in Dawn's Groceries. That's what we're saying here.
Yeah, get around to brass taxi. You're not going to be able to buy it out of your usual eBay sellers.
Yes, that's it.
Because they will probably get a slap on the wrist if they try it. It's not going to go down well, is it? But it is limited. This is it. This is one run of this kit. It's not coming back.
No.
And what my supplier has said, or our supplier should I say, has said, once he's ordered, that's what he's ordering.
Yes.
So get your names down if you want one. It's got all the digital decal camera scheme, because that's what it is, a digital one, and you get all the, from what I can see, from what I've seen, is a complete decal sheet for that.
Yeah.
And obviously it's the box and everything else.
It's the box art that goes with it, so it's like a limited of limited runs.
It
apparently
is really,
it's a one-off. So
I don't think they're going to do an Ed-Ard with this one, and you'll see it again in a few months' time, because I don't think that's ever going to happen. So,
and of course, it's the Great Wall Hobbies kit, which is a fantastic kit anyway. So it's not as if it's a bad kit that you get in Night Echoes with. It's probably the best kit with the Night Echoes. So.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, just if you want one, please.
If you want one, stick your name down for it.
ASAP.
Yes.
And please make sure you want one. This, not. I'm putting my name down, and then, when it turns up, I don't want it. Please be sure you want it,
because it is going to be very, very limited on this one.
Yeah.
So
that's anyway, one of them, and the other two.
The R's. Which one do you want to start with?
Whichever's nearest. It needs pinning to the top, because I didn't do that when I put them up.
I pinned them to the top.
He's pinned them now. Yeah, they're here.
Yeah. So that's it. We've got a special deal which we mentioned on the trumpeter,
show last week. Yeah.
Tram, which you showed, which we were on about last week on the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, if you're interested, good price, big kit, lot for your money. Blah blah. Phil's built his, but he's not going to get out his cabinet because it's too delicate.
No.
Get your name down.
Photo.
Which one did you do, Phil? Did you do the A or?
I did the early one, because I did the original release for it. So unfortunately, I've done the A. I think the Tram, which is this, not this one. This is the A. This is a different kit. But the thing is with it, with the Tram, I do believe you can backdate it.
The Tram's got the.
It's got a different turret, but my turret had the hole for it and gave you a blanking plate, but you didn't get the actual turret. But obviously, if you bought the Tram, so I'm imagining it's going to be the same in reverse. So you can be. I should think you'll be able to backdate the Tram to be an A type. So obviously you've got the best in both worlds. But this thing's totally out of the box, apart from me just doing some scratch building on it. But there's no aftermarket on this one, and we just went to town with it. As I say, it is a big kit. I waited a long time for this kit to get released, and did not disappoint. Still one of my favourite builds of all time.
It does look stunning, though, doesn't it, Bill?
It is. It is a very, very nice one right the way through. But as you say, when it's all built up, I just fast forward here to the end pictures. There it is. There it is. It is a lump and a half, and I can confirm it fits beautifully in the display cabinet. It's just I can't get it out. It's wedged in there. But
that's not a special JATO version of a Tram.
So tomorrow night, what will be in the background is Phil's build of that.
Yes.
Subliminally playing in the background.
Playing round, so you need to get one. But it's a beautiful kit. It really is very nice, and you can do, like I've proven there, so much with it. Because all I did was I took the engine out, scratch build the engine bay, and put it out onto a maintenance rack on the wing. So and you could do that. And I have reference photos of it, and I've spoken to a couple of guys who worked on them like that. But you say it was great because you'd have a crate of a Coke bottle crate turned upside down, little cushion on it. You could sit there and work on that engine. It was beautiful. It's the easiest thing to work on, apparently. So, but I spoke to a couple of guys who saw that photos of it and were like, great, because they've never seen it done like that before at the time. So it's really nice to see it. So yes, very good. So that's a beautiful one, and the other one. The other one is another lump, which I'll be building soonish in the next couple of months. Is the Skyraider. Again, really good price on this one. We're doing it 58 quid instead of 78 quid. So like this one here, we know this is in the Korean markings, but as you say, you could do aftermarket. Because it's
loads of aftermarket for them. So you could actually, I don't think they changed at all, did they? I don't know what the difference is between a D and a J. Is it you've got? Is it a J they do?
I've got the H. I've got the A1H, or because it's like the two in a kit, and I got a feeling that is the same anyway. Because I've got mine is the A1H and the AD6 in the same box.
Right.
So, but that one, I think you'll be able to do those versions from it as well.
Yeah, I don't know the intricacies of a Skyraider, but I'm sure you could sort of, modernise it a little bit. There's there's loads of aftermarket out for it, tons.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a ton of aftermarket for it. I must admit, I've got the Quinta Studios set for it, but I did have a look at the time of getting bits for it, and you can get everything: guns, the works,
toilets,
toilets. You can buy it after. It does come with that kit. I don't know about that one, but you can buy it as an aftermarket toilet as well.
Yeah,
so
loads.
And it's again, that's a huge aircraft, isn't it?
It is a lump. Yeah, she's a big lump.
So the biggest single-engine aircraft
think it was it's the biggest piston aircraft, single engine pistoned aircraft on an aircraft carrier. So I don't know if it was overall, but it's got to be close if it isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So-
big,
Massive, aren't they?
big
It
old
is a
lump.
big lump.
So yeah, they're like I say, we can get them sort of ASAP really. We just want names down, and then we can get them ordered from our supplier.
Yes.
So like I say, we're going to have some more pre-orders coming up. We're going to have a little meeting and a discussion because
Yes.
to upgrade, and obviously some stuff's coming in. We've got the Stukas coming in. So the border model Stuka is. I thought it might arrive as we've been sat here doing the show, but it's not yet. But it's doing this morning. So obviously, Andy, you'll be getting your invoices. Please check your boxes because they'll be, coming out to you as soon as.
I'll be doing
Yes.
that. I'll do the invoices as soon as we finish the show. So
Yeah, and then we'll get them out to you probably if you pay today, tomorrow, or Friday. Don't forget, I'm away because I'm visiting Phil from Friday. I'm here Friday, and then Friday afternoon we're going, and I'm back on Wednesday next week. So I've got Monday, Tuesday off, and the weekend I'm having a little holiday.
Little holiday in Devon.
Little
Sunny Devon.
holiday.
It is
Sunny
at the
Devon.
moment. Might snow tomorrow.
I've got my
apparently.
brolly ready, my hat, my
You know what?
scarf, my gloves.
That's
I've
it.
checked the weather forecast, and
Snow chains.
I thought we were doing so well not talking about the weather today.
I've got to mention the weather. It's part of the programme.
That's it. It's our
It.
weekly program
Read
show.
British weather.
It's a bit like when you watch Country Farm and then they cut to the weather section for the week.
Yeah, but only in this country, right? I was in the garden on Saturday in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, cleaning the decking and doing stuff in our garden. And then I'm coming down to you this week, and my daughter's gone on a school trip today, and it is horrible. It's
Baltic.
cold, it's wet,
Yeah.
it forecast sleet and snow. How can it go from like 3 days later?
Yeah, I know. Crazy.
Jeez, it's just nuts.
Need more global warming. That's what you need.
Yeah, probably. So I will be bringing one of them down towards you to have a look at as well.
Nice.
Because
Yeah.
obviously we did the 109, didn't we? When me and Nathan did a review on that. But you can have a look at that, and then I'll bring it back up if you want to do a quick review Saturday. We'll have a scoop through it together and see how nice that is. But
nice that
actually,
is,
if it's anything like the 109, it'd be good. It's good scale, obviously, for me.
Yes. Yeah.
And other armour builders, if you're into that.
That's it. If you're planning on doing little dioramas and things, you can get your
Now that's
stuff
it.
in.
I was on about perhaps the 109.
Yeah.
A
we could do
building the
that.
109, actually, the Stuka would be more appealing to me out of the two. So
Yes.
we'll see what you get, because normally with the first boxes you get extras as well, don't you? And then
Yes.
it drops off. I don't know if you get anything with that kit, or not.
It used to be the first release. Saying that, AFV, going back to AFV, used to do that as well. AFV used to always get the limited run artwork
Yeah,
Oh,
poster
in a
God.
little wallet, wasn't it? You always used to get them on the first runs.
Yeah.
So
Shame they stopped all that, really. I could see it from an expense point of view, but it was nice because they were nice little posters. Because you've got one with your F5, haven't you?
yeah,
I've got one of mine. Yeah, I've got the
Excuse me.
2C
Yeah.
Sundowners one. Yes.
Yeah.
no,
Right.
it is nice.
Surprised more manufacturers don't do that. Especially when they've got nice box art.
Yeah, that's right.
know,
It's
we
a nice
always said
touch,
about
like
AFV
John,
Club
as we say
art.
about. We all like to stick them on the wall and all the rest of it. But if you had a nice proper poster one done, stick it in a nice little frame. They are really, really nice.
Even Edard, I know you can buy the Edard post. Sorry, Andy, like the Edard posters. But if they did a smaller one for their first run of
Yeah,
releases, say new releases, I think they'd get really good mileage out of them. To be honest.
Because they bought out the big ones, didn't they, originally? But you couldn't we couldn't post them.
so they were giant, flat, pre-done. It was a nightmare.
And I
Yeah,
think that's why obviously they sell them separate now for the site. Don't they?
Like you said, if they did a small one in the box, it'd be. But then they'd be losing money from that one there. Yeah.
But yeah, one
the posters with the.
Yeah, one of the limited in even the limited editions. They put like a box-sized poster in the bottom would be.
yeah. If you just did it the same size as the box, it wouldn't take up any room. Just pop it in the bottom flat,
Anyway, digress, don't we? So yeah, that's it. Priel's got, sorry, mate.
Okay, I was going to say, if we go over to questions.
You ask questions.
Okay, first one's from Carl. He says, "Hi guys, wondering if you could help me decide on what is the best jet in 72nd scale would be, please. I build World War II Allied aircraft, an occasional odd bit of AFV, from that era as well. I'm not really into jets, but as a different subject to build. I fancy going either US or European type. I've built the Kinetic 48 scale Hornet, which was okay, but I found also failed miserably with the nose weight on the Buccaneer in 72nd scale. Don't forget, pro tip for you, because I've done it, you can, if you want, drill a hole in the bottom of the nose, fill it up with like the very small lead shot, and then give it a good dollop of PVA glue, stand up on its end, like that, so it dries, and then all you do is then fill the hole afterwards, bit of paint over it, and away you go.
Don't be tempted to put super glue in it, though.
Yeah,
no,
don't
not
put
super glue,
because it'll cook it and it'll literally melt. But you literally, I've had that problem myself, and also wheel wells and foot wells where the rudder pedals go, slithers of lead can go down in those areas. Push them in there. There's usually a bit of room behind the instrument panel for it, and you can fill them up and do it that way. We've all been there.
Or push come to a clear bit of sprue in the back as a prop.
Yeah, or just super glue the nose wheel down to a plinth.
Yeah. Or to be honest, a bit of blue tack.
Yes, yeah, just tack them down as well works really well. But honestly, I wouldn't fret about it. We've all done it. We've all got to that bit where you do it and it starts to teeter, and then it just goes plump, and you're like, bugger. Jet.
Yeah, I know we've just been talking about them, it would be a really challenging but really good build. Is that Fine Mold's Phantom?
Yes. So he's just saying here, just finish it. He goes, Academy's F18 looks interesting, but I want something with a bit more challenging in terms of build. Any recommendations?
Great Wall Lobbies, 72nd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, if you want challenges, as you say, it depends what you want as a challenge. Do you want it as a more complex build overall, or do you want a challenge?
Sorry,
again,
front door went.
Yeah. So I can see it.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to move that so you can see through my window. Can you see
so
through the window now?
I can see out to the front door, yeah.
Yeah, if anybody comes, let me know.
Okay. But yeah, I think, again, it's one of those, send about the Academy F18, that's quite nice as well, for the 72nd one. Like we were saying, the Fine Molds one, if you want to do a Phantom, something a bit more of a classic, that type of era as well, Cold War, then obviously those ones are very nice indeed. Just trying to think, 72nd type stuff.
I mean, he says he's built the Kinetic 48 Harrier, so I mean that's a decent challenge build, isn't it?
That's a challenge build. It is straightforward. It goes together okay, but you've still got to finesse it. There is some seam lines to take care of. Getting the intakes in there and stuff like that is definitely a challenge as well.
Challenging to me, I'm looking at Sword, Valum,
yeah,
or the limited run.
Yeah, you've got to do some work on it. Yeah.
So, I mean, the question's very sort of broad for us to answer, as in, because it's subject matter as well, isn't it? You really don't want to be building something you're not interested in, because you won't do it.
No.
You're just wasting your time and money of paying for something. You need to, if you like Phantom, if you like Tomcats, if you like F-16, blah, 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 whatever it is. If you said to us, right, what would you recommend, as in, like, say, an F-14 in 72nd, we go Academy or Great Wall? Yeah?
Yeah.
We could be probably more precise and guide you, but when you've just gone, well, I'm interested in such, it's just, we can't answer that. It's just too broad.
72nd scale, if you're thinking like Cold War jets, is things like Airfix's Harriers, the 72nd ones are really nice. Their Phantoms obviously are very, very nice. The Lightnings are very, very nice. From that type of thing as well. So if you're into those ones, they will give little bits of challenges into the build. But
I think what he needs to do is message us back for tomorrow and say be a bit more precise.
Because I mean, basically, you've got like 70 years worth of aircraft to choose from, haven't you?
Yeah.
US and European types. So what sort of genre, what sort of period are you looking for?
Yeah. Give us a bit more info, and we might be able to be, help you a little bit more. But again, it's
cut it down a bit to.
Yeah.
He also says, thank you for the brilliant tutorials. By the way, keep up the cracking work. It certainly brought my skills and knowledge along. No problem, Carl. Thank you very much. Right, Lee says, hi, hope everyone's well. Are you expecting to do a pre-order for the Armour Hobbies Nakajima Ki-84 Hayate? Apologies if it's already been asked before.
Yes, we are doing.
I've put it. It's on my list here.
It's on Andy's list.
Andy's got his list. He's all right. He'll be fine, but that'll be up later on. James is saying, morning team, do you know anything about the Humbrol enamels being axed? No.
The only thing that I've heard is that they're going to stop because of the rules in Europe. They can't be sold in Europe anymore. Now, how that affects the rest of the world, I don't think they're available in Canada, are they?
No, they're not. No, we've had that. They can't get them in Canada, can they? I bet they can't get them in California.
No, but you can't buy water in California because it causes death.
Do you know what? Can I just say something on this enamel sort of debate we've been having? Because obviously we've got an ongoing inquiry. We'll skip over from here. But yeah, enamel washers. If you can't sell enamel paint, how can you sell enamel washers? Which two companies that we know of, and one of them we deal with quite heavily, has kind of made a living off it.
Yeah.
So how's that going to work? Because let's be honest, acrylic washers don't work.
No.
You can't do it with lacquer, can you?
And you can't do it with lacquers.
No.
Obviously, there is oil paint washers, isn't there? And there's obviously your organic,
Yes.
Posh wash.
Yes.
But even you admit it's limited to certain things.
Oh yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
You'll be the first to
use
admit
it for
it's
everything.
Not. So how's that going to work in the EU? Or I presume that's where it is, with the enamel sort of problem. For them companies selling them products, because they are enamel based washers.
Yes.
Because a lacquer wash is just going to be known as a paint stripper, isn't it?
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, you brush that on your model and then just watch it run off. I've thinned it, so it'll be fine. What with lacquers?
That's a good point. Yeah, if you can't sell enamel paints, why can you buy
enamel washes?
Who knows?
I don't know. It's a question.
Or maybe it's something that's in said paints that is causing the problem, not the actual.
Yeah, and again, I'm not an expert on this at all, but from what I hear, one of the key ingredients in the enamel paints is the problem, because it's not allowed. It's been banned.
I mean, imagine the formula's probably changed over the years because it.
Lead.
It's lead free.
Lead. Bring back lead paint.
Leaded paint. That's what we need.
It's an interesting conundrum though, because obviously enamel paint is enamel paint, isn't it? Whether it's thinned down to within an inch of its life or it's proper thick, like coach paint, because that's what enamel coach paint. Yeah, horrible stuff, but you know what I mean. It is enamel paint, so it's all binders and whatever they put in it.
Goes in them. That's the thing. Anyway, speaking of paints, Billy says he's wondering if we've had any chance to have a look at the new AK Super Chrome paint and thinners. I know that paint comes up on the shows often, which the Molotov seems to be about the best one that's known out there. But AK's brought one out, and I said before, there's actually a few companies who do it. If you go looking for it, it's everywhere. It's not cheap, but you can buy it in 1 litre, 2 litres, paint your car, and all the rest of it. So it's not something new. Molotov haven't come up with a new thing that's everything's now people are jumping on. It's been around for years. But again, it's one of those that's been brought to the hobby market directly. And this is the first time I'm aware that chrome has been made available in a pot of and binder, which I tell you what is another thing, because Molotov's enamel.
Yeah.
So there you go, we're back to enamels again. Enamels, like we said before, have their place. For chrome, it's mega.
I think metals in general.
For metal finishes and all the rest of it, enamels are the way to go, because they just work really, really well. It gives you a really nice finish. So if they're going to start banning enamels, some of the best stuff we use is going to go out the window.
Didn't we say before that we didn't think AK Super Chrome was the same as Molotov?
It's not Molotov, no. I know. I have a sneaky suspicion, which is just my personal ramblings, of I think I know what it is and whose it is and all the rest of it. It's been rebottled by. But again, if you do a little bit of work on the internet, it doesn't take long to come up with 10 companies who do it, and all the rest of it. So yeah. It will be interesting, because I think, as I said before, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying everyone should now boycott, don't buy that, go off and buy these other companies, because they do it in a small 60ml bottle. Where all the others do it in like 100 ml or 250 ml. So you don't. This stuff I know for a fact has a shelf life. Once you open it, it has got a shelf life. So don't expect to open it, you know, and then 5 years later, I think it's going to be just as good, because I'll tell you, it won't. It's a bit like me and Matt were talking about with 2-pack. You know, it has a shelf life and it will go off. You know, 2-pack clears.
But how is that if that's an enamel product when I've got 50-year-old Humbrol tinlets that are like the cockroaches of paint and haven't gone off? How does that work?
I think it's a pigment issue.
I know what it is. I'm just
so, but yes, you think, and that's the trouble. I think that's the other thing as well, is that, you know, why are tinlets, you know, sort of not in fashion? Because everyone's still got them. Don't need to buy anymore because they last forever.
Because
they're handed down through generations, because people don't really use them, and they're just handed down and they're fine.
The paint lasts forever, and the tinlets rust and fall apart.
Oh, you can't get the lids on them because they crusty up.
Yeah, they go crusty around the top of the lid unless you like properly clean it and do it.
A massive flat screwdriver to get them off.
And then the lid flies off and you get paint going in one direction, the lid goes another, and we'll land paint side down. So it'll be fine.
All they need is to put them in some little glass jars.
Yes.
But so, are we getting AK Super Chrome?
Yes, we are. Yeah,
we are going to get it in. And I will do a little test with it as well. I'll grab a bottle and I'll do a little bit of thing, and I'll do a direct comparison.
We are getting it to test before we sell it to see, because I'm not buying a load in and then it's not very, you know, I'm not saying it won't be very good, because I think it should be fine, but we want to just test it before we actually stock it properly. So yes, we will be getting some in.
Last question is from Chris. He says, "Morning guys, sorry if this has already been mentioned. Will the Flory PM team be going to Modelcraft Milton Keynes in May?" No. Simple. Next. No. We're cutting back on all the shows purely because it costs us an absolute fortune. We can't afford it because we are poor.
Yeah. Unless they're letting us come for free.
Yeah, unless we get freebies, then we'll go.
But if we get a special invitation...
and get a hotel sponsorship as well.
Yeah, that's it. Hotel sponsorship by Premier Inn would be nice. But yes, no, the trouble is the cost of doing the shows, it's not just like us turning up, it's us lot turning up from different parts of the country, going to the shows, accommodation, things like that. With the prices of things at the moment, we'll put on a special show instead.
Yeah, and van sponsorship from Eurocar and...
Yes, yeah, that's it. We need a van hire.
I want sponsorship from Esso or Texaco or something like that, please. But yeah, it's it is. Good. Yeah, cool.
Righto, there we go. We've been going an hour, so that's all right.
We've done an hour, have we already?
We've filled an hour. Yes, we have. Cool. Right, okay then guys, thank you very much for joining us. So don't forget, there's a couple of things coming up. Obviously we'll be back with you tomorrow night live if you want to join us then. Love to have you along. And then obviously on Tuesday we're going to be having the auction, so if you want to obviously peruse that, it will be up over the next couple of days onto the forum, so you can catch up with that one, see if you want to place any pre-bids if you can't be around, or you can join us live. What time are we going to do it? 7:30? 7? Alright, 7 o'clock on Tuesday we'll be back live with you, and then obviously we'll be back with you again next Wednesday for the next PM show. Very good. Okie dokie. Right, if we're all done, nothing else?
Nope, that's it. We're all finished.
Lovely. Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure as always. Stay safe, happy modelling, take care, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.